Halloween and welcome to What the Fuck Am I Reading? So this week I managed to finish 4 books. I read a new favorite and I haven't been able to pick a book since then because it was just so good, like so good. But I basically read one sci-fi book and two sci-fi books actually and 2 fantasy books. So let's just start with the one that I finished first, and that was The Minders by John Mars, which I actually really like. I think that we're getting there with John Mars. Basically in this one, the UK decides that it's really accessible to hackers, so the way that they are going to approach this new security is by having 5 different people with this ability to just, store all the information, like the sensible information of the UK, storing them. They have to just try and live throughout 5 years, then chip is gone and they can continue with their lives, basically. It's weird. I love this concept. My kind of only complaint, we can call it that, is that first, this is a fucking sequel to the one and the Passengers. Don't fucking lie to me. This is set on the same world. In no fucking place that it's set is set on the same world. So if you want to start with John Mars, don't start with this one because it spoils the ending of the Passengers and the one. It spoils everything. Literally everything. So before, just read those ones and then you can go to the Minders. But again, I have a similar complaint like the one that like the one that I had with the one. It felt a little bit disconnected. We have, of course, different POVs from these 5 strangers and one other, I believe. The thing is, sometimes they feel a little bit too like short stories, like they're independent stories. They did converge a little bit towards the end, but still, sometimes, especially at the beginning, they felt like really disconnected from one another. Like it got better with the book. So that I can accept is less like exaggerated than with the one. So for that, we are fine. I really liked the ending, and my favorite part of this book was that it was really engaging. Basically, someone is going after these Minders, so we always have like that sense of urgency, and when they are doing like their day-to-day life, we're just like, careful, someone's going to kill you, careful. Overall, I really enjoyed it. This is a sci-fi thriller. You're probably going to really enjoy it if you have read any of John Mars's other books. If you have read A Blake Crouch, you will probably enjoy this. It's not really heavy in the science fiction, it's usually like a plot device. If that's your thing, go ahead, you will probably really enjoy it. But yeah, I give this one 4 stars. It was really solid. I think that for now, we can agree John Mars is a writer for me. Like, now that I have read 4 of his books, we can agree. We can agree. So the other book that I finished. Oh boy, I have already recorded a full review for it. I will upload it later on the week. 7 Deaths of Empire by J.R. Matthews. Holy shit, this book. I freaking love this. Like, it was so filled with court intrigue. Like, so filled with it. It's literally only court intrigue, this book. Like, basically, the main plot of the story is that in this world, when the emperor dies, you need to carry his body to the capital. So, the heir can be crowned, basically. So the thing is that the emperor died in the battlefield really far away from the capital, so we're going to follow the emperor's body returning with this whole parade of soldiers, and we're also going to follow the capital and what's going on there. We have 2 main POVs. We have the magician, who is Chiron, and he's traveling with the emperor, and then we have Borden, who is the general of this army, and he's in the capital protecting the heir to the throne. Oh boy, so many conspiracies, so many plot twists. This was honestly fantastic. Like, this was honestly so good. Like, I don't want to talk too much about it because you're already going to see a full review about it, but it's coming out in June. Get ready. Like, get ready. If you really enjoy kind of more slow books, more centered around the politics of the empire than on great battles, this is the book for you. Like, I understand it might not be some, like, not everyone's cup of tea. I can understand that because it's quite slow, not that many things happen, but holy shit, those plot twists. I had like my mouth open the whole time. It was just so good. I'm just so happy talking about this. I cannot wait for this book to release and just get a finished copy. It's a beautiful hardback that I'm so excited because this cover is going to be amazing. I'm just so excited, honestly. I'm just so excited. I really want this book. I want the sequel, actually. Like, I want the sequel now. Give me the sequel, please. But this was honestly amazing. Like, amazing. The other thing that I thought was a little bit underwhelming, the world building could have been a little bit better, you know, a little bit more. We could have gotten a little bit more world building. But for what this book tried to accomplish, which is basically just telling this part of the story, I thought it was actually really well executed, even though it was a little bit lacking in the world building. Like, you didn't need anything else for what was going on. And it was really straight to the plot. To the point, but to the plot also. And that was fantastic. There was like different trios in the POVs, in the different POVs that were so good, like trios of characters. Amazing. Like, this one was so good, man. Like, this whole week, I was just counting the hours so I could get back to it. Like, it's been a real, like, it's been a while since I actually felt that need to just read. Like, I just want to read and learn how this is going to end. I don't want to know. So good, man. Like, so good. I read this chunker in 4 days. Like, it's almost 700 pages, but it was amazing. Like, 5 stars, of course, 5 stars. New favorite book. Like, this is amazing. The other book that I read this week was Project Hail Mary by, I almost said The Martian, by The Martian, by Andy Weir. This is the new book by the author of The Martian, and oh boy, I like this one. I saw so many conflicted reviews with his previous book, Artemis. I wasn't really feeling it, so I decided not to read it, actually. And this one, I'm so glad I did. I basically read it on release day because I had just finished The Minders, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to read this. And ooh, it was so good. It is basically about this guy. He wakes up in a ship. He has been in kind of apparently cryosleep for a little bit. Let's just call it cryosleep. Like, and he doesn't remember a thing. So he's just like, where the hell am I? We're going to get continuous flashbacks, and we're going to also follow him in the present. We get like one from the past, one in the present, one in the past, one in the present. And the story is building up till the finale. It's also a first contact with aliens book, which is something that I didn't know. And it was so cool, man. Like, it was such a great touch. I think the humor sometimes was a little bit over the top, but it was funny nonetheless. Like, it was good funny. And it was also super engaging. Like, some parts of it, I just didn't want to stop listening to the audiobook, basically. I was just like, can I just listen to a little bit more? And I was just, you know, walking to the place where I do my internship. I was just listening to it. It was just like, I can listen to 5 more minutes. But it was really, really engaging. If you just like science fiction in general, I think you're going to really like Project Hail Mary. And I think it's also like kind of a good step into science fiction if you haven't tried that many books. I do think it's a little bit too heavy on the science sometimes. Like, I had to check some things with time distortion. Well, or yeah, is that how it's called in English? But some things were in my mind, but I just couldn't remember them correctly. So I had like to check a little a couple of things, nothing crazy, but I really liked it. There's also this kind of let's try to figure out language, and that's a trope that I fucking love. I love that trope. As someone who really likes languages in general, I just really like that trope. It's amazing. But yeah, overall, I was pretty satisfied with it. I think the thing that I liked the least was the ending. I was just like, it was a little bit too cookie cutter for me. Like, so for the things like, you know, but it keeps you like on the edge of your seat all the time, because every time that something seems to be right, something will go wrong, like in The Martian. It's kind of the same formula. I just really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. Super enjoyable, really approachable science fiction if you're looking for a funny, kind of fast, even though it's quite long, almost 500 pages, but it feels really fast. It's really engaging. You're going to probably really like this one. Like, it's probably going to be like a good introduction to science fiction for a lot of people, and I'm really glad about that, actually. Like, I think it's going to be like a good starting point for science fiction. And I feel the need of more science fiction books lately. I feel that we haven't had that many science fiction books coming out recently, more like fantasy books. Overall, I really like it. But you know, Rocky is the best. If you have read the book, you know, but he is the fucking best. Like, he's so much better. He is the best. Also, I really like the past story, like all how everything came to be. I just really like that. I just really like that part in general. It was super cool and a little bit tragic sometimes. It had like a good mixture of funny and tragic and really hard-hitting moments and just funny moments in general. So yeah, if you like The Martian, you're going to 100% like this. So I will highly recommend you check it out. So the other book that I finished this week was 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City by K.J. Parker. And this was also super hilarious. I had no clue that we had like that type of snarky narrator in this book, and I really like it. This is, as I've told you before, basically about a siege. So we're going to follow Orham, and he is the colonel of the engineers in this army. Basically, they build bridges. That's their thing. They build bridges. And they basically are coming back from one of these building bridges excursion, and they find out that an enemy army has basically made its way throughout the damn forest and damn kingdom, and they are now at the gates of this walled city. And they are basically the only ones that that can stop it, basically, from invading the capital. So it's a mess. Sometimes it's just so stupidly convoluted. Sometimes the problem solving is also so over the top. Like, so over the top, so extravagant, and I actually really liked it. As someone who prefers like a darker read, this is kind of a light one, and I actually really liked it. I really like the narrator. Like, the narrator is actually an unreliable narrator, and it was great. Like, some things didn't make fucking sense. It's basically that this story was actually like discovered in this archive, and now you're reading it, and it's just so cool. So cool. I actually really want to pick the sequel, which is a companion novel, How to Rule a Kingdom or an Empire and Get Away with It, something like that. Overall, I really like it. As I've told you, my favorite part was definitely the narration. It's quite similar to the one in The Black Tongue Thief, but it's not like that, like satirical and dark. This is more like a funny approach to it. It sometimes doesn't make fucking sense. Like, sometimes I thought that I was lost reading the book, and then I was just like, oh wait, oh okay, now I get it. Now I get it. It's weird. It's weird. I really want to try more works by this author. I really want to read The Binding Knife, I believe it's called, something like that, which is apparently quite heavy on the politics also. Well, as you can probably imagine, this is really heavy on the politics, the court intrigue. Well, this because they're court intrigue. They're basically dealing with every aspect of the city, you know, getting food, getting water, building defenses, and that's a trope that I love as someone who really likes to play strategy games. If you like strategy, or if you're an engineer, you're going to love this. So many solutions are just engineering based. It was super funny, but again, if you like strategy, you're going to love this. Like, you're probably going to love this. I really enjoyed it. I decided to give it 4 stars. It was such a funny ride, but you know, it didn't give me like anything like different and special, but it was such a funny ride. You know, it was a fun book. I really respected for it. I really want to pick the sequel. This was such a joy to read, actually, like such a joy to read. Those were basically the 4 books that I read this week. I'm currently reading We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle, which, not gonna lie, started up fucking incredible. Like, I was listening to this one while I was making my way back home today, and holy shit, I'm losing my mind over it already. Like, I really want to just, for it to be a little bit late and just continue reading this, listening to it. The audiobook for now is really good. But boy, for now, this is dark and gritty and brutal. And I'm loving it. Like, for now, it's great. Basically, in this one, we are set on a recently invaded country. We have like this kind of tribe that wasn't really important. One day they come back and they are full in armor. They have a new god with them and they basically conquer the whole kind of super empire that we had before. And now we're setting the story 6 months after that huge defeat. And for now, it's something really interesting. I think we have 3 POVs. I don't know if we are going to have more. But for now, we have one of the bad guys as one of the main POVs, which is interesting. A survivor of the first attack and a woman that I feel is going to be a spy. I feel it. But for now, this is great. Like, if this whole vibe continues throughout the whole book, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. In the physical book that I'm starting today, it's going to be Nightfall by Daniel Barnett, which is one of the favorite series of my friend Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative. I'm actually really excited. Like, this is a horror book and I just really want something horror-y after that great book that was 7 Deaths of an Empire. I want something a little bit different, but yeah, I'll probably just binge read this today, probably if I have the time. And then I will read Invisible Planets by Ken Liu. But yeah, that was basically all. Oh my god, I cannot wait for you to see my review of 7 Deaths of an Empire. It was such a great book. So have you read any of these books? Do you have any recommendations? They are always welcome, but please leave them down in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.